Welcome to the MMA Fan Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Stu and Blake.
Nathan Fletcher, how you doing?
I'm doing very good. How are you boys?
Good, mate. Good. It's lovely to have you back on. Thanks so much for giving us even more of your time. I think I'm just going to point out, I'm speaking slightly softer than normal because the professional that I am, I'm in the room underneath where I've got a 4-year-old that is refusing to sleep right now. And I know that if I greeted you in the way I wanted to, Nathan, I would have been like, "Way, Nathan, how's it going? Me old mucker," and do it really loudly. But I'm not allowed to do that because I'll get in trouble for keeping the 4-year-old up. So I'm being really soft.
That's all absolute
Fair enough.
Nathan. He went, "I'm going to talk to Nathan in my new sexy voice tonight and see how it works." That's exactly what he said.
Okay. I like it. I don't mind. Either way is okay with me. Don't worry. You can do the sexy voice if you want.
Well, I'm glad you're up for whatever one it is. You know, whatever my motivations are. You know, to keep my 4-year-old asleep or to arouse you.
Turn me on.
Yeah. You're up for anything, and that's what I love about you, Nathan. That's what I like.
That's it.
But let's start with that performance at the last Cage Warriors Trilogy against Brian Boland. Jesus, that was really impressive, mate. I mean, I don't think you took a single shot in that whole. No. It only lasted a round, but I mean, still to not take a shot, and you absolutely dominated him with the grappling, got the submission towards the end of the round. I mean, did you imagine it was going to be as easy as it seemed?
Do you know what? It's a weird one, that, isn't it? Because obviously Brian was the big step up in competition for me. That was kind of the fight where, you know, the rest of all the fan base and Cage Warriors were going to see what I was really about. And it was my easiest fight to date. I literally did come out with a mark on me. Like you said, I didn't get touched, and I was right back in the gym Monday morning training. I didn't even feel like I'd been in a fight. It was crazy. Normally, even if you have like a first round finish, there's the odd little knock, the odd little bruise, your shin's a bit sore from leg kicking him or something. I had nothing. I literally felt like I hadn't been in a fight. It was crazy. But going into it, obviously, you do visualize that. I picture going into every fight and dominating in that way and taking no damage and putting my game on them and having the fight that I want to have. And it literally just happened that it went perfectly in that fight. And I managed to get the job done and get a first round finish. So I was made up with that.
And how is that after the fight? Like, I mean, you've gone in there, you've not taken a single shot. I know it did last a round and you had to do some grappling, so there's that. It wasn't like you got the KO in like within 30 seconds or something like that. But how is it afterwards? Do you feel like you need to get rid of any extra energy or anything? Or were you like, or are you you're just happy you're able to deal with that? Because I'd imagine that if you've built up so long for this fight, and for you to face very little adversity and just do that in a round, did you have to go backstage and like blow off some steam somewhere? Did you have to hit some pads or anything like that?
No, I don't know if you've seen me after the fight, but I screamed pretty loud. I was saying, "Give me the fucking belt." And there was a lot of energy going into that post-fight celebration. So I think I burnt off all the excess energy screaming that. But no, honestly, after the fight, I was just content. I was just very happy. That was how I imagined it going in my head. I prepared for that to happen. And then everything that week was perfect, to be honest. Even in the build up to the fight, getting on with yous and getting a bit more exposure, getting a bit more hype around my fights. Like, I'm still early on in my career, so I'm starting to build up now. And that was the first sort of fight where I had a lot of eyes on me. I was on the main card, doing all the pre-fight media stuff with the Cage Warriors team. It was all exciting, and it's everything that I've been envisioning for the last few years. And then right from fight week, right down to my weight cut and the fight, everything just went perfect. And I was made up.
Well, we owe you a big thank you as well. Sorry, Stu. We owe you a big thank you because you gave us a little shout out on your pre-fight interview. And unfortunately, that was the one night we couldn't get to of the trilogy. And I was like, oh my God, he's giving us a shout out and we're not even there. And I'd like recorded it. But you know,
I was gutted when they said they're not going to be there. I thought, flipping it.
We were gutted.
Yeah. It is what it is, isn't it? Are you just coming to this next one?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm in the middle of doing a play at the moment, so I'm not going to get to every show, but I'm making sure 100% I'm watching Nathan Fletcher fight live.
Right.
That's
Love
happening. Everything else,
Good
who
stuff.
knows? But Nathan Fletcher, I'm watching him fight live.
It's a shame I'm on the Thursday night this time. It's almost like it's the worst night in it, really, to be honest. Thursday, especially like all my mates and stuff trying to get it off work. It's been a bit of a ball, like getting a crowd down to come support me. But I reckon I'll still have a good few heads there.
Good.
It's a big journey from obviously Liverpool and Southport down to London, but I reckon even for a Thursday night, I'll have a good turnout. So,
brilliant. Well, we'll be backing you, mate. We'll be there.
Brilliant.
Mate. Absolutely.
Good stuff.
Tell us about what the vibe's like at Next Gen at the moment, mate. It must be ridiculous.
Yeah, I love when I get asked this, right? So have you ever seen the film Dodgeball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know when White Goodman's on the big screen and he's going, there's a good energy in the gym. That's pretty much how I feel. Like every time I get asked this question, I say that. And I've done it in some interviews before, and I've just gone, there's a good energy in the gym, as White Goodman would say. And the interviewer just kind of looks at me like, what you on about, mate? Like, do you know what I mean? Answer the question, but that's what I normally say now. So, but yeah, there genuinely is like the vibe in the gym's boss. Obviously, Paddy and Molly blew the roof off Vegas, didn't they, the other week? Yeah. It kind of was like the Next Gen takeover, that show. And the momentum's just been going from then. To be honest, even from like the last Cage Warriors when Matt won the world title there, the gym's just been flying. And then the other night on Almighty, which is like a bit of a smaller local show, we had I think 4 of the lads out, and they went 4-0 again that night, 2 finishes. So we're literally carrying like a massive amount of momentum at the minute, and it's a boss environment to be training in every day.
I bet it is, yeah, incredible.
So with that, no, that that vibe that's so high, and you're saying that the last fight you started doing like the media stuff and that, and anyone that we've spoke to about UK fighters that people are excited about, your name's being mentioned constantly. Like, how do you deal with that? Do you feel a weight of expectation from that, or does that just kind of like push you even sort of further?
Yeah, it definitely pushes me further. I think, to be honest, I put a lot of pressure on myself already because I've got very big goals. Like, I know where I want to be in this sport. I want to go all the way to the top. I want to get to the UFC. I want to win the UFC world title. So you can't really add any more pressure on top of that than what I already put on myself. Do you know what I mean? So, but it's good. It's nice to hear. Do you know what I mean? People are finally starting to take notice. I feel like I've always kind of flown under the radar a little bit. My career's not been that long, to be honest. I've only been a pro 2 years and I've only had 6 fights. And even amateur, I was only an amateur for about 2 years. So I've come out of nowhere, but now I'm putting on performances like my last fight. And I think people are definitely starting to take notice. And after this one, another good opponent and obviously a massive fight, Cage Warriors world title. I think a lot more people are going to get on the bandwagon, and yeah, we're just going to keep it going and ride it all the way to the UFC.
Well, let's talk about that fight. How do you expect it to go? What are you expecting from him?
Well, just to interject, just for anyone that doesn't know, if you haven't heard already, it's at Cage Warriors 127, Thursday, the 30th of September, for the vacant bantamweight belt, and you're fighting Dominic Wooding. Just putting that out there for the info.
Yeah, no, it's nice.
People.
You've got to get it in. Yeah, people might not know. So that's the fight that's happening. What do I think of Dom? He's a striker, isn't he? He's a southpaw striker. I don't know if you've seen much of him, but he's got sharp hands. He's got knockout power. But I feel like a lot of people I'm going to face at this level are going to have knockout power. Brian had knockout power. I just don't see him being able to hang with me, especially in the grappling department. I feel like my game is coming well-rounded now with each fight a little bit more and more, but I've got such a big advantage in that one area that I can't see the fight going any other way other than the minute I get a hold of him, it's going to be game over for him. So I'm very excited to get in there.
It does seem like that very kind of classic striker versus grappler, because he's had a couple of big KO wins, both in the first round, but sandwiched in between those were 2 decision losses. Now, I haven't been able to watch a lot of Dominic Wooding. I've seen one of the knockouts. It did look quite impressive, but it is exactly that kind, again, like that kind of classic matchup, the grappler versus the striker. And is it a good thing or a bad thing when you're going into a fight knowing exactly what your opponent's game plan is going to have to be, which in this case is keep it on the feet and strike, but he also knows exactly what your game plan is going to be, which I imagine is get it to the ground as quick as possible. So how is that when you both know what each other's going to do?
Yeah, it's a good question. I feel like with all my fights, that's kind of how I feel. I know what I want to go in there and do. And I've always been a fighter who focuses more on my own game than what my opponent's going to bring to the table, because I know whenever I do what I'm doing best, no one can stop it. Like I train with the same guys every single week in, week out. They all know exactly what I try and do in sparring, and I still get it off on those. Do you know what I mean? So they're the best prepared to deal with my style, and it's still effective in sparring rounds with all my teammates. So I just feel like you can prepare for me. Go on, try and stop what's going to happen. But in my head, I know when I turn up on that night, you're not going to be able to. So yeah. But you say everyone's calling it striker versus grappler. I have got hands as well, so we'll see. Maybe I won't take him down straight away. Maybe I'll land some shots on the feet first. But yeah, fight to fight at the end of the day. Fights always start on the feet, so I'm going to have to strike with him, and then we'll see how it goes from there. But I'm pretty confident I'm going to be getting that takedown pretty early on.
Sorry,
go on,
Blake.
No, go on, mate.
You was talking about like Dom striking and stuff. Do you study tapes? Like, do you leave it to your trainers?
No, I definitely have watched all his fights. Yeah, I like to watch my opponent.
And what do you do when you're watching that? Are you watching what his opponents are doing as well, or are you just watching what he's doing?
I'm looking at what's working on him and what's not working. I'm looking specifically against, stuff that I'm going to use in my fights. So his takedown defense, what sort of stuff he does there, his counter strikes, what he likes to throw off certain shots, breaking down his whole game. To be honest, I've got someone in the gym, a fella called Carl, who breaks down all of our team's opponents. So whether it's Paddy's UFC fight or Molly's UFC fight or my Cage Warriors fights, Carl breaks down all of our opponents and does like a 45-minute to an hour-long video of just every technique, every fight broken down, so we can see literally every single aspect of his game. And then obviously my coaches will watch that, but I'll spend a lot of time watching it as well. I think I said before, I'm not huge on like focusing on my opponents, but at the same time, I'm going to get every bit of information that I can. Do you know what I mean? Because why wouldn't you? You've got to fight them at the end of the day. So I want to have a full knowledge in my head of what he's going to try and bring to the table. And then once I understand that, then it's like, okay, now I'm gonna put my game on him anyway. But these are the certain aspects I might have to watch out for. So, but yeah, I definitely watch tape. Yeah.
So you did call for the belt after your win against Boland. Did you expect to get it so quickly? I mean, you are 6-0. I suppose Ian Gary was, I think, a similar record when he got his title shot. But yeah, it feels like it's early. But I suppose how can you keep giving someone like yourself or an Ian Gary these kind of fights that are just to test if they're at like this next kind of small level up, when you're obliterating people in front of you like you did in your last fight? I suppose you've got to give you a title shot. But did you think it was coming next?
I think after that last fight, I knew I was going to get the title shot next because of who Brian was. He's fought for the belt before. And if you look at the Cage Warriors bantamweight division, there wasn't really any other clear contenders. Michele Martignoni, the Italian kid that I fought in my fight before Brian, he was just coming off a win against Wesley Meyer, who was like another contender in the division. So I think they were going to try and build Martignoni, and then I beat him. So then I was kind of the next contender. So the step-up fight for me was Boland. And then after that, I knew I was going to get the belt. But if you go back to when I turned pro 2 years ago, and you told me that within this short space of time, you'd be 6-0 2 years into your career fighting for the Cage Warriors title. And then even if you go back to when I made my amateur debut, that was only less than 5 years ago. I had my first amateur fight. So in that short space of time, I've literally gone through all the amateur ranks, ran through Cage Warriors roster, and now I'm fighting for the belt. So it is a little bit surreal when I look at it in that sense. But fight by fight, I've been growing, and especially after that last one, I knew like the time's right now. I'm ready to take that step and fight for the title.
Well, obviously that's that step, and then the obvious step afterwards is a tried and tested pathway. Is once you become a Cage Warriors champion, you could be getting a UFC contract or an opportunity on something like the Contender Series or something like that. What do you want if all goes well and you win that belt on September 30th? Do you want to defend that belt once or twice, get a couple more fights under your belt before you make that big leap to the UFC? Or do you want that contract to come in and you go straight over to that big show?
I think, if I'm being realistic, I think I might have to defend it once, to be honest. But what I want is to be in the UFC. I know right now I'm at that level. I know I can get in there and compete with the best in the world at my weight class. So I definitely want that UFC contract whenever it's handed to me. But being realistic, I think they've just signed Ian, 7-0 Cage Warriors world champ. I don't know the likeliness is that they're going to then again sign another Cage Warriors 7. I know Young, we're both, I think Ian's 23 as well. He might be 24 now, but we're both, it's weird. Our careers have kind of been like neck and neck. And then I think I missed one of the trilogies and he fought. So then he was kind of one fight ahead of me. So I don't know what the chances are of them signing me straight after this, like they done with him. But if they did, I'd take it. I'd be ready for it. If not, I'm happy to get Cage Warriors back in Liverpool or Manchester, somewhere up north, and have me defend it in front of a home crowd, and then I'd be able to sell hundreds of tickets, and that would be a boss night as well. So either of those scenarios is good for me,
and that'll be valuable experience as well. You maybe out headlining a card or something like that. Oh, back in your hometown, selling all those tickets, all of that. That's valuable experience, and I think people can take stuff like that to the UFC. We've seen Paddy do it recently.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with you there. It would. It'd be nice because the last time I fought at home, I was on a prelim card, and I still sold, like, I think last time I fought in Manchester, which isn't even obviously Liverpool, is it? It's close by. Sold 110 tickets, and my support has grown massively since then. Like the whole of Southport, the town I'm from, is behind me, and a lot of Liverpool's behind me as well. Do you know what I mean? So if we get a card in Liverpool or Manchester, I'll definitely sell it out, and that would be a boss night as well. So maybe that's what we'll do. Once I've won the belt, we'll do that, and then I'll tell the UFC to hang fire, and then I'll go after that.
Brilliant.
And obviously, last time there was no crowd, and so I mean, how much you know having that following as well, and how much difference does that make when you walk in that cage and know that like there's people there screaming your name that are really, you know, they've got your back and they want you to win? How much do you draw from that?
It's a weird one, that, because I never thought that it affected me massively until I fought without a crowd. So my last fight, yeah, my last fight before COVID was in Manchester. I had about 100 and odd people there supporting me. And when I got in the cage, I literally felt invincible. I was like, drew all the support from the crowd as I was walking out. I see a video on my Instagram of my walkout, and I'm like high-fiving everyone walking past, fist bumping all the lads. Everyone's there screaming before I get in the cage. And that just literally lit a fire underneath me, like even more so than what normally happens when I get in the cage. And then going from that to my next fight was in an empty arena. I was kind of walking out and waiting for this like adrenaline to hit and waiting for me to get up for it. And I got in the cage and I was like, you need to switch on here, lad. You're half asleep. It's not the same as the last time. So I think it's definitely going to play in my favor having the crowd back. I mean, saying that, obviously my last couple, then I got used to fighting without a crowd. So I was able to get a bit more fired up in the changing room and a bit more switched on, a bit more intense before I come into the cage. But having the crowd's only going to fuel that even more this time. And I think it's going to play into my favor, definitely.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
What a great time for UK MMA, right?
I know. Flying, literally.
Really feels like it. We always like to ask fighters this, and I can't even remember. Did we ask you this when you come on and done the sort of the long form interview post fight? What's your go-to food?
I don't know if you did ask me, but changes it up. So normally, what I like to do is my girlfriend orders me a box of like cakes, and I get blondies, brownies, cookies, all stuff like this. A nice big box. I put these on my Instagram all the time on my highlights to be able to see them. So that's like my go-to sort of sweet scran after the fight. But straight after, it's normally dead late. So I end up just going like a snide takeaway and getting a burger and chips or a Mackey's if it's open. Or, do you know what I mean? Something like that. Like the last few have been a bit shit because I've had to go back to the Cage Warriors hotel and just order whatever's open on delivery.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So last time I got a burger, it was actually quite nice, like an Honest Burger or something it was called. It was pretty heavy. I got one of them.
Pretty good. They do a good vegan burger in Honest Burger, from what I remember. It's pretty decent. Just putting it out there for anyone that doesn't want to eat of the beef.
Are you a vegan?
No, I went vegan I went vegan for about 6 months, and it was at the start of the pandemic that I stopped. So I was vegan for about 6 months. It was hard work. And what I found is that as someone that's not very good with cooking, I kind of was still eating quite processed rubbish stuff. It was just vegan processed stuff. But I remember having, she probably won't enjoy me saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. But I remember having a slight argument with the wife just towards the start of the pandemic. And I was like, fuck this vegan shit. And I ordered a Mighty Meaty from Domino's.
Heavy.
Ease yourself back in, Blake. Ease yourself back in.
That's it. Go home.
Straight in. Yeah.
Went straight in. Mighty Meaty from Domino's and started watching The Mandalorian. and it made me feel much better about life. So it was really good.
Yeah, fuck that vegan shit. Might get a bit of hate, both of us, for saying that, but I definitely could never be.
I didn't say
vegan.
it, mate. You say both of us. You said it, not me.
You said it first. You said
no,
fuck
I
that
didn't.
vegan shit.
No, I did
When we
not say
watch
that.
it back,
I said they do a very good vegan burger at Honest Burger. So I'm promoting veganism, mate. They're going to come for you, not me.
My girlfriend's a vegetarian. She's not vegan, but she's vegetarian. So I actually do eat a lot of vegetarian meals as well.
Nice.
Just putting that out there. If any vegans are going mad at me now.
Yeah, I love how you're trying to claw that shit back.
Jack, yeah. I've massively reduced my carbon footprint. Don't worry, I eat less meat.
Brilliant.
Don't kill me.
But look, what do you do to relax outside of fight camps? When the fight camps are over, what's your kind of like chill out hobby or something different that you do? What do you do?
In terms of hobbies, I don't have many hobbies outside of fighting. I like to do CrossFit, which is
nice.
Obviously that plays into my fighting as well. It's just like a different form of training. So I normally go to the CrossFit gym quite a bit after my fights and start doing more CrossFit style workouts.
And that's really competitive as well, isn't it?
Yeah. One of my best mates, Alex, actually competes in it. So he's like the fittest kid I know, and having him as my best mate just brings me on. That's where I do all my S&C, as it is CrossFit gym. So yeah, when I'm outside of fight camp, I'm just doing more fitness training, to be honest. But yeah, into like relaxing wise, went on a nice spa day with the missus after the last one. This gym in Warrington called Athelis, and it's got like a Belter spa on it, and we had like a massage and everything, a nice scran, and it was so good. I ended up joining the gym. So like Warrington, it's like a 45-minute drive from mine. The spa was so good, I was like, I'm gonna have to join here. So I joined the other month, and I've been going for all my recovery sessions in fight camp. So yeah.
Well, we're releasing these on YouTube now. So what you need to do is clip that little bit and send it over to that gym in Warrington and be like, come on, give me like a free couple of spa days.
I know. They'll have
I've
to.
been promoting you on the MMA Fan Podcast. So
I'm thinking of just walking in 2 weeks with my belt and just like,
yes,
seeing, you know what I mean? Like any free spa days going there. I've got a belt on my shoulder.
You could also just say, Matt Bonner, because I know he's a big face around Warrington. We've seen him on Instagram.
That's it.
I think he's got a Greg sponsorship now.
Yeah. I said to him, your picture's up in the gym, you know, Matt. He's like, really? No. It's not. But I don't know why. I don't know why he doesn't go. If I lived in Warrington, well, I'm a member and I live in Southport. It's like 45 minutes away, but it's a boss facility. So I don't know why the beast's not there every day.
He's too busy at Greg's and doing open top bus tours.
Yeah, meet and greets in the Greg's and that.
That's it. Yeah.
He's just bombarded with fans now in Warrington since he won the title.
Oh, love it. Just before we start to sort of wrap things up as well, I mean, we've got 3 nights of fights. The trilogies, like, we love these trilogies. What other fights over them 3 nights are you excited about?
A few. So a lot of my teammates are fighting. Some of these fights haven't been announced yet, so I don't know which ones I can say. But my good mate Adam Cullen's fighting. It'll be his 3rd pro fight. I'm not actually sure the name of his opponent. He's had a few changes, but I'm looking forward to watching him get another win. Liam Malloy is making his Cage Warriors debut, and he's been like my main training partner for this camp. He's a southpaw striker. Brilliant. He's a big, strong, athletic featherweight. So for him to be, he literally fought, I think 4 or 5 weeks ago, and then he comes straight back into camp to help me out. He's been sparring me every week, doing all the drilling sessions with me to get me ready for Dom. And he's got a fight on Cage Warriors now on the Thursday night as well. So I made up with that. But outside of my teammates, I'm looking forward to watching Paul Hughes and Charrier, is it, the French guy? Yeah. I reckon that'll be a bell to fight. I like Paul. He's a good lad. I like his mindset. I like watching all his YouTube series that he does and stuff. He's quite switched on with it all. So I'm looking forward to watching him fight. And other than that, big fights. The flyweight title fight, I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah.
I think it's Creasy versus Shank, so that'll be a boss scrap as well. So yeah, there's a good few fights on over the weekends.
Yeah,
there are. Well, mate, thank you so much for coming on the show. We massively appreciate you again taking the time out to come and chat to us.
No worries at all, boys. Nice one for getting me back on. I appreciate it.
And we look forward to seeing you get that strap, mate. Can't wait.
That's it. It'd be nice to meet you in person as well if he's at the fights afterwards. So.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
mate.
What are you doing? Do you have to go kind of straight home Friday morning or whatever, or do you hang around? What do you do?
I'm gonna come on Friday and watch because a couple of the lads are on. So Thursday night, all my girlfriend and that I got an Airbnb, so I'm going to be leaving the Cage Warriors bubble and going into the Airbnb with them, celebrating that night, and then I'll be back on the Friday at the show to watch the next gen lads that are fighting on Friday, and obviously Paul's fights Friday as well, so I'll be there for that.
I will definitely catch
Nice one,
up,
man.
and we'll bring you some cakes, and we'll
Oh,
see.
he's right.
Thursday night,
I'll hold
mate.
you to that now. So I'll be disappointed if I don't get a cake.
Mate, best of luck, Nathan. We'll see you there.
Thank
All
you
the
very
best, mate.
much. Cheers,
Catch
boys.
you later.
See you later.